Hey guys, it's been a while since I did an astrotheology video, so I figured, why the fuck not? Now, I have to give a shout out to Rex Bear because him above all, okay, he was the first podcast that ever put me on. And it took my friend John, who I did or Goomba, who we call him, who we did the Anunnaki video with. Okay, months for him to reach out to Rex to finally get me on, and now I'm one of the most viewed and common people on his channel. But the thing about Rex is that he's always pushed me. So when I first found astrotheology in the Bible, he was like, check the Gnostic text. So he gave me some ideas. So I did that. And then he was like, check this, check that, check this, check the Enuma Elish, check the Epic of Gilgamesh, check all this, see if you could find stuff in there. And because of him, I kept doing it. So it really expanded my breadth of knowledge and the understanding of the astrotheology and just how deep it goes. If it was just the Bible, it would be one thing, but it permeates everything, including this text that we're going to be talking about, which he gave me the idea for. Okay, so let me share this. Okay, standard format. You guys know the drill. Okay, Enki and Ninja Sarah. Okay, now what is the story of Enki and Ninja Star? Because a lot of this is missing. Okay, because this came from a tablet, but a lot of it is missing, or it's just scratched off, or what have you. She's one of the seven great deities of Sumer. Okay, fertility goddess. Okay, that's basically where she was, and what this tablet mostly talks about, even though we're going to focus mostly on the astrotheology of it. Okay, this describes her dealings with Enki from her sexual exploits with Enki. There's a ton of talking about dropping semen in this, which I'm not going to get into, but it's a sex story. Okay, and that's basically what we're going to get. So let's start. And there's some great astrotheology in here too. So let's start with the 12 signs, guys. You know the drill. Okay, so Aquarius is the first sign I talk about, is represented by Aquarius, which is represented by the man. Technically, Aries begins the year. However, we start in Aquarius because it's kind of the beginning of our year. Now, you know the story of Zeus and the young boy. I'm not going to go back into it. Okay, so the key words you're looking for are son of man, man, baptism, because this is how you baptize someone, water pitcher, because that's what this is. It's a water pitcher, fountain, stream, river, pond, lake, ocean, sea, water bodies. Okay, that's Aquarius. All the water bodies are Pisces too, Pisces being the mutable water sign, the two fish in the water. Okay, now for people who don't know, or people who are new here, Aquarius is an air sign. It's not actually a water sign. However, in this picture of Aquarius, okay, there is a man pouring water out. Because there's water in the picture, it's been used to encode water imagery. And there's examples as to, we'll see here, for example, Pisces versus Aquarius water imagery. Okay, and you could find that by matching up with connecting signs, opposing signs, seeing what patterns are being made. More specifically, in this one, we're going to talk about fresh water versus salt water, okay, or seawater. Okay. Now, Aries is the ram, and in Aries, you have March 21st, which is the spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day, it's a 12-hour night. It's also the Passover, or the passing over of the sun over the equator and back on its way to its height in the summer solstice. Now, in Christianity, the passing over is changed and it becomes the resurrection of God's Son. And then you have the Jewish Passover, which is the third Passover, which is when the angel of death passes over all the households that don't have the ram or the lamb, Aries being the ram and the lamb. Anyone that doesn't have the ram or the lamb, if your front door isn't pasted with the blood of the age that you're in, they'll know that you're not a Jew, and your firstborn sons will get killed. That's how this works. So whenever you hear ram, lamb, shepherd, or ram's horn, you're talking about Aries. Taurus is the bull. When you look at the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seed so you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. Okay, you got to get into the mindset of someone 2,000 years ago. We have John Deere equipment that does this much faster now. However, back in the day, you needed the bull. Okay, so whenever you hear bull, ox, calf, or cow, you're talking about Taurus. Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. It's the story of Achilles. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, you're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab, and it's the sideways moving creature. So just as the sun rises a degree on its axis starting on December 25th, it stops on June 21st, rising a degree. And then for 3 days, it rises to the same degree, hence moving sideways. Then on June 25th, it lowers a degree, and then every consecutive day, it lowers an additional degree. Now the nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter. Okay? The crab in the ancient Egyptian time was known as the scarab. You even get the word crab from scarab if you jumble the letters. So whenever you hear crab or beetle, you're talking about Cancer. Leo is the king, he's the lion, he's the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you hear lion, lioness, or cub, you're talking about Leo. Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. Remember before when we were saying that you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins would cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make the bread for the year. So whenever you hear virgin, wheat, grain, seed, barley, corn, things of that nature, grainy things, things that you harvest, that's always done in Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. Libra is the justice. It's the scales, it's the balance, it's the just one. The reason it's the justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. The Jews always celebrate the new year around the fall equinox. Libra is also wine season, which is when you plant for the grapes here in Taurus, you can press the wine here. So all law-related things, law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court, wine, vineyard, wine press, okay? It's also olive oil season. That's when you crush the olives to make the oil, the sacred oil, okay? And incidentally, frankincense and myrrh are both olive plants. So one day we'll actually get to that when we get to the New Testament, okay? Scorpio is the scorpion. He's the betrayer. When a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips. It's why the mafia has the kiss of death, and it's why Judas was betrayed by. It's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. So the sun is judged in Libra. It's betrayed in Scorpio. Finally, in Sagittarius, this is where the bow and the arrow shoot the sun, inflict further punishment on the sun. This is where the sun dies. Why? Because on December 21st, the sun is at its lowest point. It cannot rise any lower. It's dead. It's the dead of winter. It remains at that lowest level for 3 days, which is why Jesus was dead for 3 days. When on December 25th, or the birth of God's son, it rises another degree, or its first degree, and starts to make its way back up to the top, which it'll hit when it hits Cancer. So when you hear horse, bow and arrow, spear, or horseman, you're talking about Sagittarius. Capricorn is the goat because he likes to climb the mountain. Now, if you look at the zodiac wheel on the right, this is almost 100% accurate. The truth be told is that very tippy top where Cancer sits right now, it should be the firmament between Gemini and Cancer that sits right at the very top. But I can't get it exact, but it's basically accurate off a few degrees. Okay. Now, if you look at Capricorn, Capricorn's at the very bottom, okay, of the zodiac wheel. And the reason it's at the very bottom is because he starts to climb up the mountain. So the sun, starting December 25th, climbs a degree. That's Capricorn, okay? And it rises a degree every single day until it hits Cancer. Then it drops a degree every single day until it hits Sagittarius, last day, December 21st, the day of death. And that's the story, guys. It's really not that hard. But that being said, let's go into this ancient text. Okay, so he laid her down all alone in Dilmun, and the place where Enki had laid down with Ninsigkila. The place was virginal, the place was pristine. Okay, notice the virginal phrase. Okay, always referring to a woman and land as being virgin. It's never a man and a woman, it's always man and virgin. That goes throughout all the ancient history texts, all the ancient holy texts, I should say. The virgin is Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. Okay. Now here's an absolutely loaded passage. In Dilmun, the raven was not yet cawing, the partridge not cackling, the lion did not slay, the wolf was not carrying off lambs, and the dog had not been taught to make kids curl up. The pig had not learned that grain was to be eaten. Okay? So the raven is the constellation Corvus, which means raven and borders on Virgo. The lion is Leo. Okay, Leo and Virgo are connecting signs. Now, the wolf is the constellation Lupus, which borders Libra. Okay, so now you have Leo, Virgo, and Libra. That's 3 signs in a row. The lamb is Aries, okay, which is the wolf's opposing sign. Okay, in my astrotheology in the Bible, I talk about the passage that says, "Behold, I send you forth as a wolf amongst the sheep." Well, the sheep are Aries, and the wolf is opposing it in Libra. Sorry, guys, still remnants of being sick. Okay, but the dog is Canis Major, which is 11 stars in Cancer. Now, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra are 4 signs in a row this pattern is making for us. The pig is a constellation called Porcus, which is in the southern sky, which disappears April 1st. Okay, supposedly the Greeks discovered the constellation in the 5th century BC, yet the Chinese have had it in their zodiac just as long, if not longer. Okay, now we know if you understand astrotheology, you have to understand is you had to understand the constellations at the times. We know that there's 88 constellations now. Now they recognize 88. But at the time of Ptolemy's writing, there was only 48. Okay? However, Ptolemy wrote in 150 AD his 48 constellations. Now, in that list was not Porcus, okay, which was the constellation Pig. Okay, so when they're talking about the pig in the Bible, 5th century BC, that fits the timeline, so it makes sense that they would use it. Okay, you have to do your research, you have to look into it, because what we think we understood, what we think we know of the constellations that they knew about at the time is irrelevant, okay? Because what they tell us is when things were discovered is not always the case, if not at all. And I did a video based on this one too. Now, may the water rise up from it into your great basins. May your city drink water aplenty from them. May Dilmun drink water aplenty from them. May your pools of salt water become pools of fresh water. So this is what I was talking about before, guys. The water in the basin is Aquarius, because Aquarius, the man holding the basin, okay, the water pitcher, the basin, okay. Now may your pools of salt water becomes pool of fresh water. So check this out. Pisces being the 2 fish, okay, that's the salt water, because that's the salt water that the fish live in, okay, and that's the mutable water sign, okay. Whereas the fresh water would be the water that's drank in Aquarius. Okay, I hope this makes sense to you guys, because these are connecting signs, so it actually forms a pattern. Her pools of salt water indeed became pools of fresh water. Her fields, glebe, and furrows indeed produced grain for her. So once again, Pisces, the salt water, and Aquarius, the fresh water, connecting signs. However, the furrows produced grain for her. Well, when is the grain harvested? In Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. Now, Pisces and Virgo are opposing signs. So you will always find these connections, guys. If they weren't put there deliberately, the fact that they're always making important zodiac cross or connecting sign references should really show you that this was done on purpose. Okay. Question mark, because a lot of this stuff was actually cut off. Okay, this isn't a complete tablet at all. But Blank gave her grapes in their clusters. He poured beer for her in the large band measure. The barley is harvested to make the beer in Virgo, whereas the grapes are harvested in Libra to make the wine. These are connecting signs, Libra and Virgo. And that's this tablet that I've been working on, guys. That's unfortunately all that I have, because it's not a very long one. But I wanted to show you guys that the cipher still works. It doesn't matter what tablet you use or what any ancient text you use. It is what it is. This is the key that runs through it all, through everything. Okay, so thanks for watching.